Hey and welcome to Lore Bytes. I'm Hammeh, and in this series I try to both explain and bring together Overwatch lore topics and concepts for you simply and quickly so you don't have to do the digging. Everything here is cited from official lore sources unless stated otherwise. In this episode we're going to cover the history of Crusaders in Overwatch, the history of the term, how this elite German order of soldiers came to exist, their role in defending Germany in the Omnic Crisis, some of their key figures, and what may have happened to them afterwards. The history of Crusaders goes way back. It's founded in religious warfare from the 11th to the 16th centuries, sanctioned by the Latin Church of the time, but Crusades are most famous for the wars fought in the Eastern Mediterranean, generally with the aim of recapturing Jerusalem from what was Islamic rule at various points. Indeed, they're the most famous or infamous examples of the Crusades. The legacy of crusading is a topic that more learned historians than I have debated for many a day, but one thing's for sure, the era of crusading and warfare in the Holy Land and other places certainly galvanised medieval philosophy, literature and romantic ideals. Although many crusaders of the time would be peasants or the poor, the first image that springs to many a mind with the word crusade or crusader is the image of the armoured knight, having fantastic adventures and the accounts of heroism, chivalry and piety that have inspired many storytellers from medieval ages onwards to the present day. In the near future of Overwatch, as the Omnic Crisis hit the world, this romantic ideal would be reborn, as the Omniums of the world churned out huge forces of Bastion units, Titan mechs and more and began their assault on mankind. Humanity across the globe deployed their best minds and scientific wisdom against the threat. Different countries around the world tried their different solutions, but none were having success in winning an out-and-out fight against the Omnic Threat. Just as Sviatogor mechs were a symbol and mainstay for the Russian forces in their ultimately very successful combating of the Omnic Crisis, engineers put a new set of weaponry into service in Germany, the Crusader armour. Harkening back to the Crusades of old, Crusaders became an elite unit of the German army. The Crusader armour was a giant powered suit and had to be filled by equally giant people, if one of our most famous examples, Reinhardt Wilhelm, is anything to go by. Crusaders were equipped with rocket hammers, an amazing melee weapon. These could deal punishing damage in a wide arc with every single swing. At range, Crusaders could deploy a fire strike. Swinging their hammers, they could unleash a flaming projectile, which would pierce and damage any foe it touched. Up close, Crusaders could deploy an earth shatter, knocking down and damaging all enemies in an area with the massive force of their swinging hammer. In a defensive and tactical sense, Crusaders were also equipped with a shield projector. A temporary shield, it could take a tremendous amount of damage, but keeping it active meant that the Crusader in question couldn't attack. With rocket propulsion on the back of the armour, Crusaders could also propel themselves in a risky charge, dealing immense damage to anything caught in their path. With such a variety of tools in their kit, ripping into enemy ranks from range and up close, they could also enable more mobile infantry forces to both push forward behind and retreat in the safety of their barrier fields. This powered armour and kit did require specialist upkeep. We know that Torbjorn looked after Reinhardt's armour in the golden age of Overwatch, and nowadays Reinhardt has a new engineer, Brigitte, making do the best she can to keep the old armour going. Through their exploits, the Crusaders must have become a symbol of German resistance, as shown by this poster in Eichenwalde. Propaganda style, it boldly proclaims, "The Crusaders stand guard." The leader of the Crusaders was General Balderich Von Adler. A native of the Black Forest, Balderich was born in Eichenwalde, a town that would become infamous in Germany's waging of war in the Omnic Crisis. The Battle of Eichenwalde was key in Germany's fight back against the Omnics. Germany was under siege, with newspapers of the time reporting that the Omnics were preparing a big attack, Crusaders were on the retreat, and Berlin was at the highest alert level. In the Black Forest area of Germany in the southwest, the Omnic attacking focus had fallen on Stuttgart, which can be seen out of the windows of the brewery in Eichenwalde. In the midst of evacuation notices, residents were told to keep calm, not to stop in the open, keep away from windows, and to help neighbours where possible, as the Omnic forces descended on the town. In one of the most famous battles of the crisis, the Mountain Infantry Battalion, the Gebirgsinfanterie Battalion, prepared to defend the city. General Von Adler took a handful of Crusaders to the village in an effort to outflank the Omnic army. Balderich had been born here, and his Schnelleinsatzgruppe special task force must have known that this was almost a suicide mission. They faced overwhelming odds, legions of Bastion units, and even Titan walkers, the giant skyscraper building Omnics originally designed by Torbjorn and some of the Ironclad Guild that were turned into machines of death by the Omniums and their self-improving AIs. In a heroic last stand, Balderich's soldiers were able to break down the enemy forces, giving the German military protecting Stuttgart an opportunity to push back, but the Crusaders didn't make it out of the battle on the whole. General Balderich finally collapsed in the castle's great hall, where his armour, on the throne, stands to this day. What happened to the Crusaders afterwards? Well, we know the fate of at least one of them. One of the German army's most highly decorated soldiers at the time of his recruitment, Reinhardt Wilhelm became one of the founding members of Overwatch as part of the original strike team of 6. Taking his Crusader armour with him, Reinhardt helped bring an end to the crisis through the strike team's asymmetric warfare tactics targeting Omnium control protocols and command centres. There's an interesting panel in First Strike that we've only seen from photos at San Diego Comic-Con 2016. It shows what might be Overwatch looking over the specs for a new suit of armour, or perhaps similar armour to that of the Crusaders. Reinhardt then has a flashback of Crusaders in battle. As First Strike is out in November 2016, that's this upcoming month at the time of posting this video, we'll probably find more out about the Crusaders in the graphic novel coming soon. Until he was forced to retire, Reinhardt was a key part of Overwatch, and he kept the symbol and dream of the Crusaders alive with him. As for the rest of the Order, we can't say. There's a different few helmeted or suited individuals in Winston's list of agents that are recalled, but whether they're Crusader armour or variants thereof, we can't say for sure at this point. In the present day, with Overwatch a distant memory of 6 years or so ago, until Winston's activation in Recall, Reinhardt is roaming Germany, with his mechanic, and some might say squire, Brigitte at his side. Given the lawlessness of the area Reinhardt brings justice to in his comic, Dragon Slayer, it seems that there's little law or order in parts of Germany right now. Will Reinhardt answer the call and take up his rocket hammer to help bring peace to not just Germany, but the world once again? As the Second Omnic Crisis disrupts world peace once more, he'd certainly relish the chance to redeem the reputation of Overwatch, the organisation he was seen by many as being the moral soul of, until his retirement and before it fell from grace. Are there any of his fellow Crusaders left out there? I very much hope we'll have plenty of Overwatch story in the future to find out. Thanks very much for tuning in to this episode of Overwatch Lore Bytes. I cover all of Overwatch lore in different elements through its heroes, maps, world, interactions and voice lines. If that interests you, please do take a look at the playlists here. If you like this video, do like, subscribe, comment with what you think, it really helps me out. Cheers for tuning in, hopefully catch you soon. I've been Hammeh, take it easy.